pleasure of meeting Amy T. just a short while ago. And believe me when I say pleasure of meeting her, I mean pleasure of meeting her. She is an in her own voice presenter, and she also is a stand-up comedian. And her act is very funny. I have had the pleasure and privilege of hearing her. And now I'd really like to welcome to the stage this wonderful woman who's such a great supporter of NAMI Mass, Amy T.
Thank you very much. It's a very exciting and humbling experience standing here this morning. The first time I ever heard the word bipolar was probably about 15 years ago when a young punk kid worked for me and he took a pill for it. I didn't give much thought to what bipolar was or who he was. About 10 years ago was the first time I ever heard the word mental illness. I was dating 4 women in the mental health related field. Not all at once, but over the course of 7 years. And when you listen to the media and you hear the sound bites of a tragedy of a movie theater or an elementary school, they usually end the segment with, and this person suffers from mental illness, and then they cut to the weather. My textbook patterns of success and self-destruction went undiagnosed for 30 years, yet I had every indication of someone living with bipolar. Come to think of it now, I was dating a girl that was getting her master's in psychology, and I'm pretty certain she did her thesis on me. But still, not one of them picked up on the signs. My extreme manias, or what I like to call rebooting the economy one charge card at a time, cars, clothes, cologne. My bipolar wrote checks my depression couldn't cash. Through my depression, I lost a lot. I was in my mid-30s, I had destroyed my reputation, my self-respect, I had failed relationships one after another, and the only thing I had to show for it was isolation, humiliation, and desperation. I was financially and emotionally bankrupt, I had spiraled out of control, and I didn't know what to do. I was someone I didn't even like, but I couldn't change. I had nothing left to give or to live, and there really isn't an app for that. We have all heard the stories of, or experienced the dark days, and I think my story is much like the same. But when I hit my rock bottom, I found this passage from the book of The Awakening by Mark Nepo, and it really spoke to me. It's called Instead of Breaking. Instead of breaking, the glassblower knows while in the heat of the beginning any shape is possible. But once hardened, the only way to change is to break. I owned the road that led me to my breaking point. I knew everything I did and was doing was wrong, but I was too exhausted and numb to fight back. Once I had my diagnosis in April of 2010, acceptance wasn't a choice, it was a fact. I was relieved because, phew, all this time I thought I was a jerk, and I wasn't. But I could finally give a name to the shame I had felt about the person I had become in my self-destruction. I became accountable for my actions, began to make peace with my past, and started to heal. But acceptance is also important for those living without mental illness, because you've got to acknowledge that there's more going on than that person just being a jerk. I wanted to learn more about mental illness, why I had it and maybe somebody else didn't, and that's how I found NAMI. We're sons, daughters, mothers, fathers, spouses, we hold jobs, we function in society. In fact, 1 in 4 people are diagnosed with mental illness, but according to the DSM, every single one of us here has a diagnosable characteristic of mental illness. So it's more like 1 in 4 don't have mental illness, somebody just hasn't told you yet. I'm a stand-up comedian. I've traveled the country making people laugh. Through NAMI and In Our Own Voice, this journey has been my proudest accomplishment yet. I expose my most vulnerable self. It challenges me to be authentic and give me a sense of purpose more than any nightclub stage has ever had to offer. We provide hope, insight, and compassion. I'm walking the talk, which has allowed me to be someone living with mental illness rather than suffering from one. I have walked hundreds of miles and slept in tents for cancer with my dear friend Esther in my heart. I have ridden my bike from Boston to Vermont at least a half a dozen times for Alzheimer's, thinking about my Nana. And there's been an occasional pub crawl during those dark days, but today is the first time that the cause is directly related to me, and I'm really glad it's just a 5K because I don't want to push myself. I'm going to just start off slow. But I would like to encourage everybody to please replace the I in illness with we. because I prefer to say I am living with mental wellness and I can't do it alone. Thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy your day.